Suscríbete a mi canal de YouTube y activa las notificaciones para no perderte ninguno de los videos. Y si te gustan, dale like y compártelos.
It is not what you don't know that will get you in trouble. It's what you think you know, but isn't so. Mark Twain said that phrase, and I absolutely believe that most of the troubles that you have in your company is because there's something you think you know and you really don't. And that's why you live confused. And then everything goes wrong. So I'm going to ask you a very simple question. And we're going to see if you know or you don't know the answer. The question is, what is your job? What is your job? Francis. I know you're thinking, oh, come on, of course I know. Would you bet me $100? Put your money where your mouth is. How many of you would bet me $100 that in 1 minute I convince you that you don't know your job? And you will say that you were wrong about your job. It's not me. You will say, yep, I was wrong. Would you bet $100 with me? Don't bet, because you'll lose. I know you're thinking, who is this guy? It's like, okay. Well, I'll tell you what I bet. If in 1 minute I cannot convince you that you don't know your job, you don't have to listen to the rest of the presentation. I'll bet you the presentation. How about that? You can leave. Okay, so it's a big bet. Take a second. If you met me outside and we were saying hello, you just don't know who I am. I say, so what's your job? How would you answer the question? By the way, I already checked your profiles at LinkedIn, so I know how you would answer that question, and I know you're all wrong, so it's a setup. That's why I tell you, don't bet with me. But just think for a second, how would you answer this very apparently easy question, what's your job? Well, I mean, you all think you have different jobs, so I need to find a universal language. Plus, in this room, I'm the one that knows the least about MTN's business. So I'm not going to talk about your job. I'm going to talk about something that we, Argentinians, know a little more than worldwide people about, which is soccer. I was telling Paul, this is my first presentation after Argentina won the World Cup. So, I changed my slides. How about that? So let's talk about soccer for a minute, just so I feel good about it one more time. If you were a goalie, let's say you play the goalie for one soccer team, and someone comes and asks you, as a goalie, what's your job? How would you answer the question? What's the immediate answer that you would have? Yeah, to stop the goals, of course. I mean, come on, Fred, ask us something more difficult. Just wait. And if you were Messi, I mean, if I asked Messi, what's your job? What do you think is Messi's job? To score, of course, to score. I knew that you would all be wrong. What's the job of the team? To win. Very well. So now comes the hard part. Think about it. If the job of the team is to win, what is the most important of each and every player of the team? To help the team win. Do you agree? And demonstrating good sportsmanship. They have to follow the rules. There's this phrase in the US, Smith & Wesson beats 4 aces. That means, if you're playing poker and you have a gun, it doesn't matter what the other guy has, because you pull the gun and you win anyways. But that's winning, breaking the rules. In soccer too, if you win but you hurt the opponent and do things like that, yeah, you win but you don't win. You're not playing soccer anymore. Now you're a criminal. So you have to win, but demonstrating good sportsmanship. Do you agree with that? Okay, so let me go back, because I think I heard something different a little bit ago. What's the most important job of the goalie then? To help the team win, not to stop the goals. Do you think goalies are stupid? No, they know their job. And that's why sometimes you will see the goalie on the other team's area for the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game. When the team is losing for 1 goal and there's only 2 or 3 minutes left, the goalie will go on the attack. Have you seen any? I mean, that happened in the World Cup in Mexico, where Mexico beat Germany. The German goalie was in the attack for the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game. Doesn't he know that his job is to stay back and save goals? No, that's not true. He knows his real job, the true job, is the same job as everybody else, which is to do whatever it takes to help the team win. And the same thing with Messi. I don't know, I mean, the guy is amazing, but he's on the attack, but then when they were winning was on the defense. I don't know, any of you saw the game with France? I mean, it was a game, you know, some relatively unimportant game a little while ago. My God, I finished crying. My wife and I, she's Colombian, but of course she was rooting for Argentina. We were like, oh, I couldn't take it anymore. I brought my exercise bike and I was pedaling all the time because I just couldn't watch the game on TV. So I pedaled like for 90 minutes non-stop, because even during the penalties and at the critical moment the internet failed, so we couldn't see. I was like, oh my God, who won? And then we saw Argentina won. So it was amazing. But Messi, when Argentina was winning, he would go back, and when Argentina was tied, or I don't think they were losing, but they were tied and with a lot of risk, he was going on the defense. Why? Because the real job of every player is to help the team win. That's the superior objective. The inferior objective is the role that you play. But most people think that their job is to do their role, not to help the team win. Because many times, to help the team win, you have to do some things that are not expected of your role, and it's impossible to write down. So if you're playing soccer, you know that good players are not thinking about their position, they're thinking about the team, and they will do whatever it takes to help the team win. Now, I used to be a vice president at LinkedIn and at Google. I'm sure in your company happens the same. If I go to a programmer, a systems analyst, a tech guy, and I say, what's your job? What do you think the tech guy is going to say? To code. We call them code heads in the US. Why? Because you ask them anything, yeah, I got to code. It's my job. And if you go and ask a salesperson, anybody in sales here? I imagine that a few of you are in sales. What's the job of salespeople? To sell, of course, but that is wrong. Now you know that's wrong. Aren't you glad you didn't bet with me? You would have lost. Because I don't know whatever you put on LinkedIn, but your real job is to help MTN win. That's your real job. Now, you do it mostly by discharging your role, but not necessarily so. Many times, your real job calls for you to change the definition of your role. So, what is the job at LinkedIn? Well, everybody at LinkedIn, we have the same mission, which is connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. And this purpose, this mission, was the one thing that aligned the organization, because everybody, I have to, you know, everybody knows Argentinians are the smartest and the humblest people in the world. So very humbly, I will say that in part, thanks to me, in great part, thanks to me, everybody at LinkedIn learned and realized that the one thing that makes us all equal is that we are there to help LinkedIn win by connecting the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. And I would add, although it doesn't sound so politically correct, in a profitable way. I lost that battle. I kept insisting, hey, we're a for-profit business. I feel very proud that we're making money. But now, I don't know, in the US, it's just not so cool to say that we're here to make money. I don't have a problem. I think you have to do it in a profitable manner to be a sustainable business. But be that as it may, this is LinkedIn's mission. So everybody's job is the same, deep down. The goalie, the striker, the water boy, the coach, the driver of the bus that takes the team to the field, everybody has the same job, to create the conditions to help the organization accomplish its mission, demonstrating and respecting the values. You see, it sounds like the purpose and the mission are the thing you're optimizing. You're actually working to accomplish the mission. And that's where you're putting your energy. But the values are absolutely critical. The values are like the rules of the game. If you break the values, it doesn't matter if you win, because you are lacking integrity. You are not playing the game, and you are betraying the trust of everybody else in the organization. So, I mean, I studied mathematical economics. And in my field, what I'm doing now, people used to call the touchy-feely bullshit. Okay, we're going to talk about the touchy-feely bullshit. And it's idiotic to call it like that, because it's the most important thing. If people don't understand that they are here to help the organization win according to the values, then you have no organization. It's going to be a disharmony, and the team will surely lose. It's like if a team of soccer didn't know the rules, and they didn't know how to win. So some people would be playing one game, the other people are playing another game. It's a mess. So I hope I convince you today that the mission and the values is not the touchy-feely bullshit. It is essential for organizational effectiveness. And the culture is not a soft thing. It's the hardest thing. Most organizations die because they don't understand this. As Mark Twain said, it is not what you don't know that will hurt you. It's what you think you know. And it just is not so. So most people think they know that their job is what they do. But that is not so. Your job is to help MTN enable the benefits of a modern connected life to everyone. I hope that after this session, when someone asks you what's your job, my primary job is to help MTN enable the benefits of a modern connected life to everyone profitably. And then how do you do that? Well, most of the time I do that through HR, or I do that through sales, or I do that through technology, or I do that through telecommunications, or whatever you do. It's fine. Of course, we have a division of labor. But you need to understand what is the purpose of the division of labor and what are the rules of the game. So here are some of the values that you've been reviewing. And these are essential to maintain the organization aligned in pursuit of the values. To use a mathematical term, the mission, the purpose is what you optimize for, but the values are a constraint on the strategy space. You will only use allowable strategies that are in alignment with the values. If you can win betraying the values, it doesn't count. It's like winning in soccer, like Maradona. Remember the famous goal of Maradona, the hand of God? That is something I'm ashamed of. Why? Because in Argentina, I'm going to have to confess, in Argentina, people liked it better because it was illegal. I mean, that's how poor the values are. So the second goal was fantastic. The second goal of Maradona was amazing. But everybody in Argentina was prouder of the first goal because he got away with it. I mean, it's horrible. But now you see the Argentina and you understand why. It's the disaster of the country, it's a direct consequence of that lack of integrity, that ethos. And when people challenged, I said, no, that was illegal. I mean, they should have considered it null. Are you crazy? I mean, you're a traitor. I mean, literally, people were accusing me of being a traitor because I would have said Maradona should have told the ref that it was not valid, that he did it with his hand. Now, I have to say, there's a grass hockey team, the ladies team. Not 2 months after that game, there was a World Cup in field hockey, and the team scored, and the coach of the team told the ref that the goal was not valid, that there had been a foul. So he did exactly what Maradona didn't do on the soccer team. So not every Argentinian is like that, but I'm ashamed to confess that most people in Argentina were happier because we won against the Brits with an invalid goal that we got away with. That was like the revenge for the Falklands.